Hello, and welcome to another episode of Living Creatively as a Visionary by riversays.org. My name is Robert D. Goslin. I'm a poet, writer, photographer, sometimes painter, sometimes musician. I like to do many creative things because creativity is a huge part of my life and it really enhances my life. So I try to help others on their own creative journey or inspire some people to actually get onto a creative journey. And that's what we do at River Says. It's a community-based website. You're welcome to visit it. If you want to send in your material, you're welcome to submit. Like I said, there's a contact page on riversays.org, and we'll take a look at it and share it if you'd like, if you think it's a good fit. But this is episode 3. We're doing things a little bit differently. Before I begin, I should probably say like, subscribe, and watch it all the way to the end because that helps with the algorithms, and we know how important the algorithms are these days. And they're important for this site because, actually this channel, because the higher we get up in the algorithms, the more viewers we get and the more recognition and more exposure we get, and that's important to us. And the numbers are growing, so we're really grateful for that. And the numbers on the website are growing too, so I'm grateful for that too. So please come along and join us. I'm really glad you're here. Yeah, I did things a little differently this time. I lugged everything out to the woods, my favorite place. The volume might change a little. I'm still getting used to using different cameras for different locations, but it'll smooth out as time goes along. But as I said, it's about theme and looking for theme in the outdoors because I think the theme is critical, and I tend to look for it more when I'm outdoors. Well, not more, but it's a generative experience nonetheless. So why don't we just go ahead and head out to the woods? Oh, I should say one more thing. I do plan on increasing the frequency of these broadcasts, maybe every 2 weeks instead of every 4. So you subscribe and you can probably get notifications if you'd like. I don't know if that'll be annoying or not, but it would be nice to have you along for the ride because I really am enjoying this journey and I like making these videos. And I hope you find what I have to say helpful and enlightening because it's just stuff I love to share. So in a couple of minutes, we'll be in the woods, even though it took me hours to get set up and deal with some technical issues, but that's part of the process. And dealing with issues actually generates creative ideas. So you just roll with it and make it happen. But next time I'll be a little more consistent with the audio. But it is what it is, and we'll just keep moving forward. And it's great to have you along for the journey. So I'll see you in the woods in a couple of minutes. Hello, and welcome to my favorite park. As I said, we try to take this on the road a little bit. Created some technical challenges, but I think I got them straightened out. And this is a place I like to visit when I feel like finding inspiration. It's close to my home, so I can either walk to it or drive to it. This is a good time of year to visit. It's a time of transition. And that helps feed right into our discussion of theme. You know, theme is the underlying story or underlying message, technically, behind the piece. I had a colleague, also a friend, used to always say, everything is a text. And that meant a lot to me when they said that, but I thought a lot about it. And then I started thinking the word text implied written word. So everything is a vision. Everything is a sight. Everything is a sound. Everything is a place to be explored creatively. I wanted to sort of extend that out a little bit, away from the word text. And when I start looking at theme, especially outdoors and places like this, I almost approach it like a text, I should say, by doing a close reading, as they call it, but a little deeper than that. What I mean by close reading is looking at the underlying messages and underlying things in a piece of writing or text or a piece of music or a close reading of a painting or a sculpture, the things that are under the surface. So that ties in very closely with theme. So here we are in front of a pond. How would I begin looking for a theme here? Well, I don't know if you can hear it, but there's many birds singing in the background. I hear a Carolina wren and a couple of robins and blackbirds, and not sure if you could hear that, but I certainly could. Certainly sound could be a theme. You know, what does the sound of a bird recall? what would that generate in me creatively in terms of writing a piece or making a painting or just expressing myself creatively? Also, I'd start thinking about time of year. It's not quite spring, and it's winter's sort of over, so we're in a place of time of transition, and we're approaching the equinox. So in a way, that makes sense. We're in a spot between two places, between winter and spring, and yet neither one has really decided to be in charge. So that would be another interesting thing. There's some tension there, tension, competition, and cooperation. They complement each other as well as struggle with each other, and that's important with any theme, that there's two sides of the same coin. And then I started looking around a little bit, and there were maybe a couple of buds on the trees, not many, just a few. So that's indicating that things are starting to change. Change is a big part of theme. Theme is exploring change in unique, deep ways, in my opinion. I also think theme is the most important part of a creative piece. I often tell people when I'm working with them and if I'm reviewing their piece, I may have said this before, what do you think the theme is? And if the person who created the piece can't think of it, I'll say, you might want to go back and look for it because theme is so important. And once you find it, it'll help you really say what you're trying to say when you go back to do your revisions. What else do I see? I don't know if you can see it, but there over my shoulder is a beaver lodge. Not too long ago, this pond was covered in ice, and the lodge poked up out of the ice like a thumb. The beavers still found a way, but the ice is gone now. We should pay attention to what's here, not what was here. That's a big part of close reading and reflecting on a creative piece is sticking with what you have in front of you. But it's hard not to reflect. So yeah, there's a beaver lodge sticking up, and behind it, I don't know if you can see the ducks. Life is coming back to the pond. I saw some robins as I walked down here with my camera. Of course, they scurried away from me, but so here we are in this beautiful place, and the sky is blue. What if it wasn't? But it is. So we should talk about that. Blue has many themes: sadness, joy. Colors can mean a myriad of different possibilities. And I think of blue, of course, blue is in sadness and grief, but also moments of great joy. I've been in places where the color blue has just been profound and spectacular and sublime. So that color generates many feelings in me. And I shouldn't overlook the clouds. What an interesting sentence. Clouds should never be overlooked. The lines they make in the sky against the blue, almost like lines in a poem, or lines in a story, or lines across a canvas. What do clouds say about theme? These clouds, what do they indicate? I don't know, but they're certainly beautiful. I can think of many things they remind me of that kind of scratches the surface on theme. It's more about the underlying message. And clouds have a message. They bring rain, they bring shade on a hot day, and they bring a way of breaking up the blue into different sections. And that's also a place to look for theme when things get broken up by different ways and different mechanisms. But I think today when I look at the water, I see it's quite calm. And there are other times when it isn't. But calm water is the theme. It can mean, of course, calmness, which is obvious, being placidness. But it also could mean something's hidden, something underneath that placid surface is just under great tension and ready to burst forth. You never know what's going to poke its head out of that water or just what's trying to stay hidden. So not only is it peaceful, but it's also worth considering as a hiding spot for something not so peaceful. And theme is like that. Theme has, at first, when you create a piece, well, speaking for myself, I'll revise it, I'll go to the basic revisions and characterization, and when I'm doing some writing or color when I'm painting. But then I'll start looking for a theme. And then I'll work at revising that theme. I think people don't revise for theme enough. So as I stand here looking around, I've found multiple themes, so I shouldn't overlook the color green, the fir trees in the background. They've been green all winter, yet the trees around them aren't green yet. They're just arms and fingers and sticks sticking out. So there's potential there. And also there's trees that chose to stay green all throughout the winter. So again, we have themes that seem to be in conflict with each other. But they're also both trees, so they complement each other. And they help each other grow, because I've heard that trees talk between themselves by their roots. So we shouldn't overlook what we don't see with a tree, but we can also focus on what part of the tree we do see. So theme is complicated. It's not just seeing something, simply saying, well, isn't that a placid little pond with beavers and birds? And the birds are lovely when they sing, though. But there's so many more things you can think of. I've been here at times when I've been very troubled, and I've been here at times when I've been very happy. And the scene didn't change how I felt, but it gave me a chance to reflect on my current feeling. And maybe that's part of what theme is while you're working on a piece, is looking for what the feeling it's generating in you. And if it's a feeling you intend the piece to generate, then try to enhance that so the other people who come and view that piece will feel what you felt as you created it. But I can't overemphasize how important theme is. It's critical. It makes a piece of life, makes a piece of writing or a piece of art or a piece of music or any creative piece. Even, advanced mathematics can have a theme, but I'm not going to think about that out here because I'm by a lake. And I tend to get a little pastoral when I'm in places like this. That's another theme. I spend a great deal of time in the outdoors. Why? Why do I choose to be here instead of in a coffee shop or in a library or walking down a sidewalk? That's kind of an inner theme. An inner theme is just as important as external theme. Those can be expressed in a piece as well. I don't know how long I've been talking for. I haven't really kept track. I tend to do that when I'm in places like this. But I'm hoping some of the things help you think about theme a little bit. So as you create, as you see your visions as a visionary, as you go out in that creative world and share your work with the world, make sure that the theme is there, whatever it happens to be. And if you need to come to places like this to help you find it, they're everywhere. And it didn't cost me a penny to get here. Like I said, it's in walking distance. Now I'll step out of the frame for a minute and give you a chance to look for yourself and maybe hear. Maybe one of the things you heard or couldn't hear in terms of sound was there's also in the background, since I'm still in a town, a large town, behind all those trees is a highway, and I can hear it. I can't see it. Again, it's hidden, almost like what I was talking about, things hidden under that water. So that sound of traffic is always there. It never goes away. And yet the birds are also here. So again, we have tension, but there's also a way they complement each other because they both indicate the presence of life and motion to the universe. So theme is found in many different ways. It's never fixed. It's kind of fluid, but it has to have a kernel of permanence, just enough to grasp onto. If you're working on a piece and it feels like it's not going where it's supposed to, and you've tried looking at characterization or color or composition or all the other elements, look deeper at theme. Strengthening the theme might just give it that little extra push into what you're trying to say. And if you'd like to talk to me about it, go to my website, riversays.org. Appropriate, because I find myself many times around places of water. But you're welcome to contact me if you want to discuss this. And it's been really nice sharing one of my favorite places with all of you. And I'm planning on doing this again. I like taking this on the road, and I never know where I'm going to end up next. Maybe we'll go to some mountains. Maybe we'll visit the ocean. I have some really nice coastlines I like to visit. But this is a place I come to when I just need to think about this sort of thing, and I wanted to share it with you. So thank you for sharing this time with me. And now, back to the studio.